Yeah. It's the famous Tatiana who's going to win.
Yep.
I voted for you right away.
Aw, thank you so much. You guys are so nice. There's some, everybody has a great idea. I mean, I'm, we just have to wait and see what's going to happen. But thank you for your support.
Shut up. You're going to win.
That's so nice. I appreciate the vote of confidence.
I didn't even read what you're doing. What is your thing about?
Oh, I just realized I'm also in the wrong. I got something for my students up from last time, and I've been grading, just throwing myself. But it is about education and helping educators. Where the idea for this show is building up my platform, which I've been trying to do on my own, and I haven't been able to. And I really think it's that marketing and promotion side. So it's creating a channel, a show, content for university lecturers, adjunct professors to create engaging and dynamic classes for their students. So ultimately, that really extends to any educator, but I know how important it is to be specific with a target audience and a niche. So
yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Talk to us about that background, please.
Yes. So I did want to show this off a bit to everybody because this is.
All right. So wait for everyone else to come in then.
Okay.
Just tell me, is it real?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Nice.
Yeah. Because I saw you along with some other finalists, and I said, "Wow, that is a fantastic CGI. I would never have guessed it is a green screen." Sorry, a movie on my mind. So yeah.
No.
Cool.
It is the real deal, guys. It is. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I see Mike Reed is here. Hey, Mike. Nice to see you again. And Dick is in the house. And Randall is back in town. Very good. Professor Randall Duncan. Any relation to the famous Paul Duncan?
No, don't change it. I love it.
It's a Zoom account I use for my class. That's
keep it. I love it.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. And we got Dr. Sunny Fridge in the house too.
I was on camera. Man, I just finished using mouthwash. Never mind. We're not being recorded, are we?
I think we are. I think we are.
That's hilarious. So our cameras come on automatically now, or is it something in my global settings? I've been noticing that I come on and I don't mean to be on. I like my camera off. Do you know if the settings changed?
David, you're muted. You're muted,
David.
I knew that. And now we're getting some slapback. Does someone have open speakers?
Always. Hold on. I'm getting it.
You're good.
Okay, I just got to get to my levels. Cancel. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sound levels. Echo cancellation.
Okay, we should be good. Yep.
Yeah.
It's gone.
So if you go into your... Oh, that's interesting. Why didn't that work? Oh, I'm still getting some slapback. I don't know if that's...
I'll mute Sunny just to see if it's still coming from Sunny or not.
So if you go into your Zoom settings, there is a option here that says stop my video when joining. You check that little guy, and then your video will not be on by default. So Zoom settings, video, and then down here.
Because, and you might be noticing a difference, Sunny, too, because like the person who creates the meeting as the host can have settings on there that'll say turn cameras on for the meeting. So that setting bypasses it for any meeting. So it's yours will join no camera unless you turn it on, which is really helpful. Oh, hey, now Martin McKenna's here too. What's up, Martin?
I am good. Just pressing the right buttons.
Very good. Nice to see you. No Ecamm camp for you this year, huh, Martin?
I had another, I suppose, a meeting with friends, which ran until yesterday. So I didn't get back till today. So no Ecamm camp for me this year, I'm afraid. Next year.
Same for me. Not able to join this year, but next time. Yep, next time, another time. I'm sure you guys know, right? Ecamm for Creator Camp. Ecamm Creator Camp is going on this week. I believe it started today.
I think it
Officially.
starts Wednesday. Does
Oh,
it?
it starts tomorrow.
Maybe, or
People are
maybe just the
arriving
streaming
today.
portion of it starts. Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Well, welcome, welcome. It is October this month, and last time that we got together, we all were talking about how much we like the way things look. Obviously, Ecamm is super visually driven. And so we thought that we would talk today about one or two of your favorite scenes and what's in them, the ingredients that go into making them, showing them off a bit. And then we can even talk about some best practices and principles for creating designs and things if that's something that you guys are interested in. And I wanted to ask, because I'll forget once we start going on these other things, if perhaps for November, because I was reading through those of you that submitted answers in that survey request from a couple months ago, what you'd be interested in learning. And I was noticing that perhaps profile and organization of profiles and what goes into them is a topic that we can learn about that's very helpful for us. So quick show of hands, is profile organization and understanding profile something that you would like us to discuss next time? I know David is a double yes. Okay, great.
That's a great idea. Not just
Okay.
profiles, but maybe organization, Ecamm organization in general. Profiles versus folders versus scenes versus whatever.
Okay, that sounds great. So for next month, our topic will be Ecamm organization, hierarchy, folder organization, but then we'll also talk about profiles as a part of that organization. Okay, terrific. And remember, David and I don't always have to be the ones teaching lessons here too, right? Some of you guys are going to be pros in other areas, and you're more than welcome to say you'd like to teach a lesson on this particular month, on this particular topic. So feel free to let us know when you would like a turn at the teaching part too. I mean, we are all educators after all. So I'll just to kick us off, I do want to share some very exciting news, which is my new space, my new background. And of course, the sun is shining a little brighter than I thought. But I do want to share with you that this has been, I don't even know, years probably, trying to figure out what do I want in my background? What do I want it to look like? It's just so important to me that, so we, a while back, did a faux brick background, and you could kind of see it in the corner over here. It's still there, and that was good, but it just never quite felt like home and welcoming to me. So I finally had a vision, and my other half is amazing. He's a builder, carpenter, construction person. He was able to build this for me. So, and the feeling of it is I wanted it to feel warm and inviting, but still be very aesthetically pleasing and have some functionality. So I love tea and coffee. So I get use of my little gooseneck thing here, and then I get to have some mugs in the area and some lights, and we built lights underneath the shelving here. So it's got that nice yellow glow, which makes it warm and inviting. So that was really great to build. And then it also is reflecting my new brand colors, which is yellow being that primary color, teal, orange, and teal is like the little bit of an accent color. So anyway, I could talk about it for a long time, but I just wanted to say how happy I am. And now we're working on the rest of the room, because it's not just what's behind us, it's what we see too. That's important, right? Our environment, that's important to me, our environmental comforts. So that's a bit of a win on my end here that I wanted to share with everybody.
It's so good looking.
Thank you.
It really is. My first thought was, oh my God, I'm in her kitchen. Like I'm right at home, but it's the cleanest freaking kitchen. And it's just the neatest. It's really very beautiful.
Thank you, David. And that it is that feeling I was going for of like kitchen, but if a kitchen were in an office, what it would be like that kitchenette feeling. And so that's That's exactly what I'm going to do, especially for my classes, workshops, and everything to feel inviting. Oops.
So
Yeah,
Sunny, that's
where,
it.
Dr.
Sunny,
Sunny, are you able
Sunny,
to put headphones in? Because we're
oh, it keeps,
yeah.
yeah, we're getting lots of. No, we can't hear you now. We can't hear
Do you
you.
have headphones, Sunny?
By
For
the
some
way,
reason in my
for-
ears, I was like so loud.
yeah, just as an aside for everyone, anytime
mute.
every time people say, "Do I have to use earphones?" No, you don't have to, until you do. That's just the nature of this kind of a beast. It's
Exactly. But I wonder why it keeps happening to you, Sunny, because I have students who don't use headphones in
well,
classes, and it's
if I can tell you probably why. If you're joining, and I don't know if you are, but if she's joining through Ecamm for Zoom, by default, Ecamm takes over all of your audio settings. It turns on original audio and it enables it in the movie, which means that if you have an open speaker, that's going to feed right back in. It's going to create that loop.
and that's why it's so much louder than
Right. Your
who are
students
not using
are
Ecamm.
are using normal Zoom, which by default will block all of that out.
is it still doing that
let's
now?
see. Let's see. Nope.
Now?
Nope.
I'm not
Now
there.
it seems better.
For some reason, when I press echo cancellation, it popped back out. So that's why you were probably hearing it. I've been doing good so far if I do echo cancellation, but I have these handy.
You came prepared.
Yeah. So sorry. But I was going to ask you, Tatiana, what happened to your bookcase? What did you do with that?
The bookcase, one went to a storage space that Ben needed some shelving in, and then the other one is in my closet as shelves. But all of the books are in here. They're just away. So they're there, but and I love cleanliness and order and the things put away. So I walk in, I'm like, oh, it feels so good to see things put away.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thank you very much. So, David, you want to kick us off with some of your scenes and your overlays and the content behind them?
Scenes and overlays. Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm not sure I'm particularly proud of these any more than anything else, but I have a new show that's starting next Thursday night on through the Office Hours community called The Rundown. And so it prompted me to have to build some new scenes. So this, for example, I have one of these for each of the main panelists. Let me just forgive me for a moment. This is bothering me and I need to move it. Why can't, there we go. That's better. Apologies. So I had an artist work on the logo with me, on the Rundown logo, and so I have one of these for each of the guests that will be here, and then, of course, like everyone, built a countdown, and then this is actually, I'd love to hear your feedback on this. This is actually the intro video that I made. It's just 20 seconds. So that's the little intro that we've got. That's just from Canva. And let's see, what else have I got? So a panel shot. So you can see there's a 4 up here because we're planning on having a panel shot. Here's something that was interesting. So, and then, I've got to share with the 4 up. So this scene here, this is the community, the Office Hours community, for those of you who don't know, we use a tool called Mukana for our questions and chat and everything like it. It's a third-party tool, and it's very, and we're getting feedback from someone again. Not sure who that was.
That is Dick. That's the second entry that you just came in with the Ecamm overlays.
Oh, yeah. You have
I
to
just
make sure
muted
you
you.
disconnect audio from one of those two. Don't just mute, actually disconnect your audio.
And then you won't have any issues.
Yeah. So in any case, so the third party tool, Mukana, what it does what Ecamm, the way we used to be able to get Zoom chat in, which was basically you'd kind of create a green screen and then put the chat messages at the bottom. So that's what Mukana automatically will take questions or whatever people put in and export them as a green screen, on top of a green screen rather. So what I did is I had to build it, but I don't have a lot of granular control over it like you do in Ecamm. So basically I built this scene. I can't bring it up right now, and then I have another computer with the comments on a green screen, and then I capture that via NDI, bring it over here, and I'm able to bring put the chat on or off. That,
When you said NDI, David, that makes me think that would be a great topic for us. Maybe
yeah, maybe at some point.
maybe in 2 months from now, but I don't want to assume the rest of you guys. Well, number one, does anybody need a definition of what NDI is?
Woohoo.
Okay.
Could
so
you
you
Good,
guys,
good because I wouldn't be able to tell you what the letters stand for. So good.
Okay. I have NDI, but I don't know. I don't remember why. It's like an
Yeah.
extra connection for your iPhone sometimes, something like that. Okay.
Right.
I remember.
It's basically it's a way to send video over Wi-Fi,
the network.
essentially. Yeah. Over the
Trivia
internet.
question: network device interface, according to what I just looked up. But
Yeah.
Thanks.
it's in a practical way. The way that I'll use it is I have a second computer, my older Mac over here, and rather than you can connect it wirelessly. You can connect devices wirelessly, but I did opt to connect it via Camlink cable instead for more stability. I don't know that NDI is not stable, but NDI is what I use when I use Video Pencil and I write on my screen. That is all happening with NDI.
And actually, if you use, this is David's Mac Mini. Why isn't it tiles display? Sorry, this is not sure why this isn't working. If you use, there we go. If you use tiles, which we've talked about, there it is. If you use tiles, sorry, I had to restart it. That uses NDI. That's a good example of, if you use tiles on a different computer, you can just export it via NDI. And incidentally, by the
We're
way,
all frozen.
Is everyone frozen?
We're frozen. Our tiles were frozen.
I have to clear my cache. Yeah, that's funny. Why is that frozen? In any case, so this is actually, I don't know if this is NDI problem, but this is actually a great reason why I don't like to use NDI, because it's, if you can plug something in.
Right.
Always.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, congratulations on the new show, David. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Nightimes are
The
tough.
rundown.show, if anyone's interested.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll include it in the resources on the page, David. Can you
Make
sure that it's on there? And then, because obviously, even if we're not available Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time, for a lot of you guys, that'll be not a great time for you. And
For me, it's not a great time. Hello.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
told that that's when we get the most viewership. So I'm trying 9 p.m.
Wow.
We'll see what happens.
Oh man, that would be
Yeah.
so hard for me too. But at least we have the replays. At least we can catch replays, which is good.
There you go.
Okay, Darren, I know last time we talked, you wanted to focus on being more purposeful and creating more minimalistic style graphics and scenes. So how did that go for you?
It went pretty well. I have a couple. So the context is I'm in the process of recording a number of members from my church who have a ton of institutional memory to offer. And I really want to focus on the camera and the audio and some of the other bells and whistles that I normally use. I'm not going to really worry about in terms of some of the special effects, that I don't want that to be a distraction. So I have a couple here. One is the host and guest, and obviously you're seeing me twice, but I have them as placeholders. I actually have a different camera that I'll plug in for the guests. More or less an interview style. And then I have a scene for the first guest. And then this is kind of the only transition automation I have there, in case there's a second guest, because I want to have a placeholder just in case there's an additional person. And then something for the second guest. So really basic, nothing really out of the ordinary other than the placeholders for the people's names, a person's names or people's names. So I really want it to be a minimum,
Darren, can I ask you a
minimalist
question?
approach to it, so that I can focus on the recording, particularly with the camera. I'm using the Insta360 Link 2 for him, and then a wireless mic, a wired mic as well. So if I can get that squared away, I can work on any sort of additional edits after the fact.
Darren, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can you go back to the scene with the 3 cameras, the 2 guests?
Yes. Let's see here.
Yeah. So, and this is a genuine question. I don't know this. I tend to not use transitions in Ecamm because of something that I see in this scene, but I may just be doing it wrong. Is there a way to say, I want this transition to go first, and then this transition, and then this transition? Because when you bring this scene in, guest 1, I think like floats over or under host. Like what, you know what I'm saying? Is there a way to do that?
That I don't know. I did this scene a while back, and all I can remember what I did was the transition element. But you're right. I don't know how to have, for instance, guest 1 transition first or last there. I was really playing around with the transition features. I had to go back and sort that through. More likely than not, I'll just have a static showing of guests 1 and 2 if we have 2 guests. But that's what I had. Based upon some initial things I did a while back.
Gotcha.
One thing you could do, because I have not been, I don't believe that you can control the timing of the transitions unless you hide and unhide the transition. Unless you hide and unhide that in your scene or in the overlays. In the overlay, sorry, not in the scene. You'd have to hide that element and then it comes on.
Right. You could, instead of having them all come in right away, you could build, like with a Stream Deck, for example, you could bring this one in and then delay and then, good idea.
So that's one option, right? And then you're doing that on your Stream Deck. But I have found, like, when I'm bumping up on dead ends with Ecamm for teaching stuff, is I more so want, here's my scene. I want to do this, and then I want to do this in that scene, and then I want to do this. So I hide and unhide a lot of things, but then that takes my, I have to go find the thing, but I'm used to it. But the other thing you could do with that particular scene, Darren, is you could have the first person float in from the left, the second person on the other end float in from the right, and then the host in the middle could have no transition.
Oh, okay.
Just appear. Or come in from the top or the bottom. But I think that it would be nice to have the host static, and then one person comes this way, one person comes that way as an option. Then they don't overlap.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Darren, are you open to feedback?
Absolutely.
So I'm popping a link in the chat. This is a video. It's about an hour long. It's from the WWDC Developers Conference. It was absolutely fantastic. And it's about the qualities of great design. And one of the things that she talks about in here, it was just such a great, you don't even need to watch. It's really an auditory thing. But one of the things she talked about was how much the little things matter. So do me a favor, can I show you 2 things on 2 scenes? Go back to the very first scene that you showed us. Yeah. So it looks to my eye, and I could be wrong here, that those are not centered. That you've got more room on one side, on the to the left of or to the right of guest one, you have more room than you do to the left of host.
You're
So that
right.
was just
Yeah.
one thing. And then if you go back to the 3 up again, and this is such a tiny thing, but the corner radius of the host is different than the corner radius of the guests. And that's just something that caught my, now that could be an aesthetic choice. So there's no right or wrong here, but it's something that caught my eye. And now that I've listened to this, this webinar, whatever it was from WWDC, I'm so like, even in my scene, just by way of example, if you look at the line next to my name, it's not the right height, and it's bothering me. It is just driving me berserk. And I need to move it up a little, and I can't, because you can't do that in an easy way in Ecamm. But those little things, I think, can really make a difference. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Sure. Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't catch the sizing difference in that first one, but on the third one, I was like, I looked at it, I'm like, what is distracting me about this? And that's what it is, the radius of the roundness radius of the corners.
The roundness radius, I like that.
There was one who
Nice
did,
work, Darren. Very good. Go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, Lars, I did see someone who said you can just copy from one figure to the other one, but I don't know how that was done. So I think maybe this is also good for Darren to use to copy for the same radius that he copies from left to the right one.
Right.
Yes.
If you highlight one and then you copy and then you right click, you can paste settings. Right. Good call. I'll just show folks so this is a scene where I've got 4 cameras. It's funny you mentioned this. I never do this. What I do, and I actually did this when I was building this particular scene, is I create 4 cameras, I size one of them, then I delete the other 3, and then I just copy the first camera to make sure they're all exactly the same. But if you right click, copy, and then right click, paste settings, then all of the radius and what else? The border with
every setting, also colors, etc. Everything will be copied.
That's a great call, Dick. Yeah.
Very good. All right. Who wants to show off some scenes next?
Don't call on Marty. It's not fair.
I know. No, and Marty was totally supposed to be here because he was going to show off his little video guy that shows up on screen, but he emailed me today that he wasn't going to be able to come. So he said, next time.
I was just going to say, I saw Martin on the DJ Strict show, and he showed some amazing profiles. And I went to your website and I grabbed some countdown timers, and I love them.
Thank you, Martin.
Yeah.
Martin McKenna is the bomb.
Thanks for that. I can show you a couple of things if you'd like to see, because I've currently been doing a bit of work. So I'm currently in a profile that I'm developing at the moment. So at the moment, if I show you it, it's going to show a lot of guest 1, guest 2, guest 3, guest 4 cameras, because I'm not in all of the scenes. There's a lot of blank guest scenes, but I do spend a lot of my life looking at corner radiuses and distances between things. And the way that I lay everything out is that I actually use Keynote. So when I'm designing a scene, I will use Keynote because I can put, for instance, a series of 4 squares in a row and use Keynote to distribute those 4 squares. I will then take effectively a screenshot of that, drop it into Ecamm, reduce the opacity down to 50%, and then I'll line up my cameras with those 4 squares so that I know that they are all perfectly aligned, because Ecamm will not do even distribution of things. So it's a very simple trick. Don't try and use grids. I'm going to tell you now. People keep dropping grids on. You will be there all day moving things 2 pixels to the left, two to the right. I'm not sure whether that's in the right place. Just go and use Canva or Keynote or whatever is your favorite tool that will distribute a set of boxes evenly. Put those boxes on a screen, take a screen, effectively a screen grab of it, dump it into Ecamm, and then just align your cameras with those elements and do that for absolutely everything. So that would be my hot tip for just designing things so they're always even. The right click on the box or whatever you've got your camera is a brilliant tip. If you right click on it and copy that, then it will paste those settings to your camera. So just as David said, I would tend to get my first camera correct and then make 3 copies of it if I wanted 4 cameras on the scene, because I know that I'd copy corner radius, color, shadow, blend mode, anything else I've got set on that camera, and then it would repeat to exactly the same size. And then I just pop it into the block of the template I've created in Keynote and dropped into Ecamm. So that's how I would do that design element. But if I take you through a few scenes that I've got set up in a run of show, then you'll see the sort of thing that I've got. So I'm not quite sure how much noise or otherwise is going to come through because there's a few sound effects and things like this. And I really only jumped on tonight because I wasn't at Creator Camp, and this is a reasonable time on a Tuesday night for me. It's 9 p.m. in Edinburgh, Scotland. But let's just run through a couple of
So
scenes and then
happy
I'll
you
come
could
back to
join
my
us, Martin.
default. Delighted to be here. Let's have a look at sort of a welcome scene.
It's my first time seeing you without a hat on there, Martin. Looks nice.
Yeah.
I do have hair
Wait,
somewhere.
were you just replicating the look?
Yeah, I just keep going. So in this scene, I have just flown both of my guests on, similar to what you just mentioned, to one side of me. But I know that they are the right size because I laid it out in Keynote in the first place. Apologies that it's just black squares and not a lot of cameras, but if I joined on Ecamm,
What are you clicking with?
I'm just using a straightforward clicker. So this is a $15 clicker. I find it way easier than going and pressing buttons on Stream Decks or using a foot pedal or anything like that. So this will just click through one scene at a time in Ecamm. So just be a bit careful. If you're on a Keynote deck, it will go to the Keynote deck. But if you're in Ecamm, it's just going to click through one scene at a time in Ecamm. And for me, that's a great way of controlling things. So here,
Well, Martin,
what I'm
I
doing,
didn't realize clickers would work in Ecamm.
they do indeed. $15. You don't need to spend all of that money on going and buying something fancy. You can just grab a clicker and Ecamm will do all of that for, well, not Ecamm, the clicker's doing it. The $15 clicker is doing things for you. And this is me just moving through a few different scenes in the run of shows. So I had a small comments area, then a larger comments area. And then what I've done is come through to having sort of a closing scene whereby I've got the socials for each one of my guests on a number of different areas there. And if I come to the final closing scene, I'll show you a few different backgrounds as well. So
Martin, were you playing music? Because I don't hear it.
Yeah, we are. I am playing music, so I'm not quite sure how that's routed through Ecamm, but there is music going on at my end.
Are you
I'm
in
hearing it.
regular Zoom or Ecamm for Zoom?
Just regular Zoom.
Okay,
You have
then
to turn on
probably
original audio.
original audio for musicians has to be turned on. Yep.
By the way, everyone, speaking of Zoom, just so you know, while we're watching this, there are some, I think this week maybe, some pretty exciting announcements coming from Zoom that will directly impact us.
Oh
So
man,
stay
that's
tuned
exciting.
for that.
Thank you for the
While you're on
and
here, David, can I ask a question if you don't mind then?
Yeah, sure.
I hear that the Zoom active speaker, which is currently jumping us all in and out at the moment, that I seen a little pop-up that said you can now have multiple speakers in Zoom active speaker. So it would appear that you can assign, let's say, 2 or 3 different people to be active speakers rather than have just blanket anybody in Zoom be an active speaker. That was my assumption.
No, so you're referring to what's called multi-speaker view. If you go up to view in the top right of your Zoom window, you'll see you now have you probably have 4 options or 3 or 4 options: speaker, gallery, multi-speaker, and then you may have immersive. But so what they changed is that now if you do multi-speaker, you'll see, depending on the speakers, depending on who's making noise, you'll see 1 or 2 or even 3 people up at the top, and then the gallery down below. I actually don't use it. I don't care for it. They're obviously still working on how does Zoom determine. It's very in depth about how do they determine who should be up there and who shouldn't be up there. But that's what multi-speaker is. I think that's probably what you're talking about.
I think I maybe have got a bit. I seen the option appear, and then I got excited, but I haven't had a chance to look at it.
No, but
and
right now, if you just
I'm on it, unexcited.
No, so just go up to view in the top right of your Zoom window.
Yeah.
And choose multi-speaker. And you'll see right
Okay,
now
so
you're up at the top there, and I'm probably up there for you also. It's going to be different for everyone also, depending on what your personal settings are in Zoom. Like for me, I don't see myself up there because I've chosen not to show myself as an active speaker. So right now I just have you.
Okay, something worth looking at anyway. Definitely.
Yeah.
really nice scenes there, Martin. I love the messaging, the ones that say, you know, thank you, and those like audience engagement messages are really nice. And I think you've started to form an aesthetic that very much looks like Martin's work to me. Right, there's
it's interesting because, you know, Anna and Fulgens do their thing and Paul Dixon does his thing, and I think you can instantly tell different people have different styles, but you know that's the same throughout the world. And horses for courses, somebody will like what I've done but not like somebody else's, and vice versa. So yeah, probably there is an aesthetic going on there. But there'll be I'm on CCTV tomorrow at Creator Camp, and going to do a couple of announcements there. So people who are on the Ecamm YouTube channel then tune in tomorrow at 5:30 UK time. You'll have to do the math to work out.
12:30 Eastern time.
Yeah.
Nice, Martin. I'll look forward to. Oh darn! I'm actually teaching at that time, but I will watch the replay because I know I'm going to be on CCTV with the Ecamm folks on Thursday. So we get to stay a little connected even if we were not there in person. So that's really nice. But Martin, you want to drop a link to your store in the chat? I know that you have paid scenes and free scenes and lots of really good stuff on there. I myself have bought tons of your things. So if you you're more than welcome to share in the chat so people can check it out.
I'll drop a link, but wait until don't go and buy anything until after 5:30 tomorrow because there's a massive discount code. Don't buy anything, or if you do, don't come back and blame me this evening if you said, "Oh yeah, that looks interesting. I'll buy it," and then tomorrow, oh all right, massive sale on for 1 week only, as they say. I will find a link. Bear with me. So.
Thanks, Martin. Randall, would you
There
like
is a
to
question.
share some of your scenes with us?
I am not where I can do that right now.
Oh,
Okay,
I didn't know we
no
were doing that
problem.
today because I wasn't here last month. But I'll
That's
be
okay.
happy to next month.
Okay, yeah,
I
absolutely.
have
So
some
it's just an
different ones for
open.
classes and for our CEUs that we offer counselors. I just don't have them with me. I'm sorry.
Are you on an Insta or an OBSBot right now? Or are you just
No,
using your built-in?
I'm just using my Mac Studio camera because I had to run in and just jump on.
Oh, no, no
So,
complaints at all. It's just because it's doing center stage. I was just curious about that. It's
oh
awesome.
yeah, I never used this camera, so I didn't even know center stage was turned on.
No, it's great. No complaints at all.
And Randall, while we have your attention though, and you're just reminding me that you are a mental health professional, is the area of boundaries something that you're comfortable talking about?
Yes.
Setting boundaries. Okay.
Yeah.
If you can stay on after for a couple of minutes to chat with me, I talked to Katie about I would like to do a live stream for Ecamm in November,
Okay.
talking about the importance of setting boundaries around our work and our as content creators, as in our case educators, but we're all creating content too, because we can get wrapped up in working around the clock. And for myself personally, what I want to share is my hello, Stephen. I just saw you're in our group today. Hi. So we had Ben and I had a big conversation about boundaries because I can lose track of time very easily. And so we came up with an agreement, that nighttime is not for working. So I wanted to I have mental health professionals that I know that I wanted to talk to, but I really wanted someone in our Ecamm community, if there was someone willing to talk about the importance of setting boundaries. So just want you to think about it. And then we can talk somewhere after if you would like to be our mental health professional on the show. It would mean a lot to have someone within the community there.
No worries. Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm laughing
great.
because when you said that, I heard my wife's voice saying, "Honey, you said no work tonight."
I know.
Because I work from home half the time, so it's real easy for me to jump in and start working. Yeah, I do.
Yes. So hopefully you're available on the date. I have your email, so I will
Okay.
follow up, but I believe it's November 13th when we scheduled to do it. So hopefully that works for you, but that would be awesome if we could do that.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I speak to our college students just about every year on boundaries.
Okay. Terrific. That is so great. And actually, I think it's not the 13th because sorry, it's the 15th. November 15th at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Yep, I'm free.
Yes, secured somebody from within our community. Thank you so much, Randall. That's
No problem. Just send me an email with all the details.
Okay, will do. Terrific. Okay, Mike, how about are there any scenes that you would like to show us or parts of overlays or graphics, anything visual that you really love?
Well, I do very, very simple stuff, Tatiana, really very simple stuff, because I don't bring in a lot of folk when it comes to interviews. It's more I'm the presenter, and I work with 2 different companies as a contractor. What I can show you, Val and Paul, we did something kind of like a slide presentation on a topic per se. So I'll try this. I'll show you how simple it is. It's not going to win any awards, but I do get contracts. But that being said, oh wait, what's better, awards or contracts? Anyways, let me try this. Yeah.
That's a good poll question.
Yeah. Would you rather have an accolade or would you have a loaf of bread? Anyways, let me try this. So basically, there's one company I work for. I work with the vulnerable sector, that is organizations that work with the vulnerable, that is children, senior citizens. So basically, I train schools, faith groups, corporations that work with the vulnerable on various methods of making sure that the organization is protected, as well as the volunteer, employee, and the child. Something called Plan to Protect. So I'll kind of go like this for just a second. So this is, I have adjusted it but I kind of do the introduction like this, and then I've just created a little simple overlay here. Let me just align it. I wasn't ready for this, but this is something that I sometimes do. It's nothing fancy. I've changed my colors for other organizations, but this is something I did for the ELA. So basically, simply as I'm talking, I get centered. You know how this is, and you go back and forth and you talk and you have your conversations with people, of course. And so basically what I do is I kind of go like this, go through the content. I talk about being concise, and I have a really important definition on being concise. If you'd like to read it, that's my definition of being concise. A little bit of overkill, but I think it certainly talks about it. So basically, I just go back and forth through these kind of aspects, and I just going through some content. These are some of the teams that I've worked with in the past in education, and these are some of the teams that I train for them working amongst the vulnerable. And then I end up doing a little piece on, I have a consulting organization or side. Martin's aware of that as well, but leadership development made simple. That's kind of my tagline. And then just my bio that I talk about. I have been in the faith group community for the past 3.5 decades, but I pivoted into mental health and other organizations full time now. But this is just a little bit of my background, because people are interested in knowing who you are, where you come from, those kind of aspects. So when I talk about leadership development, well, what do you know about leadership? Well, I've definitely onboarded well over 3,500 people, both volunteer and employees, and placed them into leadership. But then they asked me, why do I use Ecamm? So I kind of went through this purpose.
Can you go back one slide?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh, one slide?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting choice that you made, and I'm curious. You could have just put a real camera of you there instead of a picture.
Thank you.
So that we could see you while you were talking. Is there a reason why you chose a picture instead? It's such an interesting
Thank
choice.
you, David. The reason why is I don't want to duplicate myself, so I can kind of go like that, right?
No. What I meant is, no, keep it full screen,
Sure.
but just put your camera where your picture is.
Yeah. Well, I like that. That's a very, very, very tangible thing to consider. So you know how simple that is. So thank you. I'll go ahead
and not suggesting you make any changes at all. It was just a really interesting choice to me, and I wanted to push you on it. That's all.
I think it's laziness, because all of my other decks, I just used Zoom, GoToWebinar, all these other mediums without camera. So now I made that transition, and I never went ahead, because unfortunately I have 155 different decks. Can you imagine?
Right. I totally get it. Yes.
But now I like what you're saying. So thank you for that great tweak. That's a great idea. So in essence, so those of you who have a little bit of FOMO, I just want to, this is where I met Tatiana last year at Ecamm Creator Camp. We had a chance to say hello, but I just kind of go through, but these are what my presentations are like, very simple as I'm talking. And I just go through this 3 aspects. I'm running Keynote, as you can tell, and I just go through content like this over and over again.
Wait, I love how you put those pictures on a bus stop. That's fantastic.
Yeah, just kind of a fun thing.
It is. You know what you could do to that? You could skew that picture. What is it called? Perspective?
Perspective, like he's doing with this camera. Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention, is that
you should
Thank
give some
you.
perspective to that so it matches that. But I love that idea of putting it on there.
Yeah, that's, sometimes when I'm not sleeping in a van down by the river near a bus sign or a bus depot. That's a Saturday Night Live joke, but anyways. But that's how I simply do it. And because of the volume that I have, it's just something that works. And I do use the Stream Deck as I'm going through. I find it quite simple. I do music introductions with the Stream Deck Plus as well, but that's how I simply do it. I know it's so basic level, but the companies that I work with, they seem to find it's okay. But I know I can do, I'd love to do this, is have a little bit more of a movable background. Like Martin has some really nice backgrounds that are not distracting. So that's my next stage, is using this kind of format like you suggested. And then David, maybe even for the personal introduction, because people want to know your credentials, especially when you're speaking to Fortune 100 companies. They want to know who you are.
Right, right.
So-
Stephen, you have a comment for Mike?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that I just love that he's using perspective on his on the left and then a slight perspective on the right, because that was something that was missing for the longest time from Ecamm.
Yes.
And I think eventually we're going to get there's a plugin inside of OBS, which I hope isn't a bad word, but within
No.
no plug-in, I'm just kidding. But it's a very, very robust, controllable perspective plugin, which I hope the boys will get at some point. So the difference is that you can select each of the four corners and change the skew of the perspective, the baseline, whatever, so that you can tighten one part versus the other, etc. I think what we have right now is really simple and effective, but I do like it because ever since I've seen people starting to do that slight little angle, I just think it adds something. I'm not sure what, but when you're trying to convey simplicity, conciseness, and I get that impression from it. It's just subtle and it works. That was my only comment on that. Thought it was great.
See,
Stephen, I agree that simplicity very often, I mean, it is sophisticated. So the principles of design, at which I'm sure are mentioned in the link you shared there, David, honestly, simplicity really is classic and it's timeless. Some of these things will date the content, some of it's cool, some of it's really cool, but really I think that simplicity is really great. Thank you so much for sharing, Mike.
No problem.
Appreciate
No problem.
it.
So once again, that's kind of how simple it is. Nothing too fancy,
Sure.
but
Yep.
as you get comfortable with it, off you go, and you can do more. But thank you for letting me share this.
I really like your logo, by the way.
Guess who
MR.
built?
cool.
Oh, what's the gentleman from? Oh my goodness. Everyone knows his name.
Did Marshall Fox do it?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I finally was able to. So it's M like Michael Reed or MR Consulting. So he did it live. So this is how I tend. So he was the one who gifted me that.
Very nice. Yes,
Terrific.
that's right. On his shows. Very cool.
Great.
Thanks, Mike. And I'm
No
going to
problem.
head over to Stephen. Stephen, are there some graphics that you would like to share with us that are your favorites or something you've been working on?
So I've mastered. So I did it in real time while watching, just to make sure that I could do it on demand. So if you see the little spinning globe in my
wow.
background,
That is cool.
so these are the steps that I use to build that. I was on a call with Anna and Fulgens, and they brought a flame and they put it onto a candle that was in their background, and they just shrunk it and they matched it, and it looked like there was a real flame. And I thought, oh my gosh, we could do so many subtle things instead of the stuff that we do that's kind of over the top. And I thought, well, how could I bring something subtle that people will barely notice? And I made it a little bit more obvious for just now. But what I did was I went into Canva, I pulled out a movie file, a video of a moon, and it had a big black background, which I could have taken out in some sophisticated software that I have. But what I discovered was when I bring the moon in to Ecamm using the option and the mouse, first thing I do is I crop around the moon to leave as little black as possible. And then on the gear, I'll go down to hang on, what is it called? I think it's blend, but let me just double check just to make sure.
It is, no, I'm wrong. Under blend mode, I use the command screen, and it automatically takes away that background, screens that out, gives me a bit of transparency. I add to the transparency a little bit so that I could match kind of like my lighting that's in the back and give it kind of like there's some reflection to it. I loop the moon going around. And as you can see, if I were to put my hand through, whoops, where am I going? There we go. You can see it's really in the front. But strategically, I just started playing around with this, and it's amazing how people say, how is that moon levitating over that drum head? People actually think that it was like it's like some magnetic thing, and I said, oh well, the good news is it's not really there. So we talk about perceptions and stuff in my brand, and people just notice it. Now they're looking for little stuff, that little Easter eggs that I hide, not always, but from time to time, and then I'll turn it off, turn it back on, etc. So I thought that that would be something worth sharing with you guys.
I love that so much.
Absolutely. Me too.
And you're right about the Easter eggs. I've been looking for other things as soon because I
took the
remember
words right out of my mouth, David.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Right.
everything you're thinking right now.
Well, so it also all started because I'm a little bit I don't do what everybody says to do, I do, and then I try to disrupt that later so that I don't look like everybody else. And
For sure.
I decided to curate the back of my room. Now, normally I don't use my gaming chair. I'm just sitting here for comfort. You don't normally see the top of the chair. And I do have this zoomed in a bit more, so different scenes for different things. And I do have lighting that will light up those curio cabinets that there's no glass on them, which is really important. So you have no glare. And what's fascinating from what I found was people will zoom in. You know how we do this? We zoom in to try and see what people have. And people will ask me about stuff that's on my shelves. And everything on my little shelves is a journey through my life, my life, my family's life, my kids, my this, my business. And people will find things to find similar or conversational. So somebody might zoom in on my Sons of Anarchy art in the back, and they'll go, oh my gosh, I love that series, or wasn't that episode crazy, or whatever. And it has nothing to do with my brand, which is about money and investing, but you create a connection very, very quickly. And when you're trying, especially as I need to, I often do 3-day seminars of 6 hours a day for 3 days in a row. And 99% of the time they have to look at this. So I try to get change it up as much as possible so that people stay engaged, and the engagement is great. So I'm always looking for stuff.
I really love that too, especially it just gave me so many ideas because I do the Easter eggs in the syllabus in the beginning and gamify it and do these cool things. But I love the idea of sneaking in little things on the screen that maybe they need to find, or like how we've seen people form this word or little things. And Jan Keck, I really love the way he does his little campfire. Similar, he has it glows, the embers glow, and just like yours, Stephen. It's subtle, it's sophisticated, it's not over the top, but and it's not overly distracting either. It's not something that would take me away from what you're saying, teaching or sharing, but it's also very cool.
What I also found, by the way, is when you're a participant and you want to stand out amongst a group of people for whatever reason, you can use Ecamm exactly in that way by doing stuff like this. So there was I was on Cap Show the other day, and they sent me a little thing, whatever, little award. Somebody was talking about the award before. And so I just popped it up on the screen as they were talking about it. I just had a little drawing box that went around it. Or since they're different stuff from different places comes out, or whatever we happen to do, they have a koala, a sloth. They have a sloth. So I have this little sloth that comes out behind my logo, and it's just like little stuff like that and you start engaging people. So I've got all these little hidden things that if I think that my people are, falling asleep a little bit or whatever, we can wake them up and try to do something a little bit different. So,
By the
I
way,
love that.
sorry, could you, sorry, you mentioned before that, so right now, when you put your hand up, the moon is in front of it, but you could move the moon behind your camera. No, you couldn't. But you could move it behind the sloth.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, because when the sloth came out, I saw that he had a hole in his head with
Yeah,
which
no,
was
no,
the
of
moon.
course.
Yeah.
No, because of course I did this on the fly, so I didn't put
No,
the
of
right
course,
order.
of
Yeah, I
course.
just would have had to order them on the left side.
No, you just made me think about it.
But you're entirely right. No, I would like to move the moon all the way to the real background, but
Yeah.
there's really no distance
No.
between the front and the back.
But
soon enough.
I just want to. What camera are you using? Because your picture is so sharp and beautiful.
So I don't want to tell anybody, but I will tell you. I will because I have struggled with this dang camera forever, and I feel like how everybody's telling you to get the Sony, this one, that one. I mean, this model, that one. I'm using an Elgato face cam.
Good for you. It looks great.
And I do have an OBSBot PTZ when I want to get up and do other stuff. I do have an old Logitech 922 sitting inside of my teleprompter. I do use continuity camera. So all my cameras that I've collected over time do kind of multi-duty, double duty, etc. And I almost feel guilty not having a DSLR or whatever, but people tell me what you're telling me.
It looks great, I think. Yeah.
And so,
and I also just wanted to share that what you said, Stephen, about people noticing things in your background. I use that all the time with my participants' backgrounds. If they have a dog or a cat or a picture on the wall, I'll call it out, and they immediately feel seen, and they immediately feel like, oh, it matters that he's paying attention to me. It's such a gift, I think, that these tools have allowed us to come into one another's homes.
if you want to laugh, when people ask me about my dog, because I have a picture where the dog is, see if I have it handy. But even if not, just imagine I have a picture of the dog. So people say, well, how's the dog doing? Well, when I'm doing an actual event, I have a light that's set up under my desk, and I bring up my Bowie cam, and that's just an old GoPro. So all that is an old GoPro, whatever, 3, 4, whatever it is, that's on, a little clamp. He'll go lie down there, and we can go check in on Bowie if we need to. And of course, I'll make it smaller. I'll make it just slide in or something like that. We just bring him in for a minute, and just like, oh, Bowie's sleeping. Let's leave him alone and go over. And it's funny because you know this better, well, probably better than most, as a rabbi, as you lead people, and as everything has always been about community, right? Well, we in the corporate world had to learn that. We had to learn that everything really is about community. Everything is about shedding, you can be who you want to be. You could be who you are. And I felt that I play with my dog all day long. Why should I look like some typical money guy in an expensive suit? If that was the way I want to portray myself, totally fine. But since it's not, it works out. So I always encourage people, just bring in some elements that make other people smile.
Absolutely. I love that. You're totally inspiring me because I'm thinking how I can use my North Star in that way. I need to ask you, Stephen, the blend mode that you said that takes out the black was which one?
So it's the blend mode. So when you go to the gear icon or the
Mm-hmm.
pencil icon, the edit icon for, let's say I'm on that moon, it's basically.
I know you said which blend mode it was.
Oh yeah, so the blend mode is screen.
Screen.
Because there are many of them, and I've played with all of them at some point. I still don't understand what they all do, but that's okay. Eventually, I will.
Yeah,
But
and
that
it's just a
one,
matter of playing around, having some fun
yeah,
with it and seeing
yeah,
what
and
the
you have
phone
to be
does.
willing to. You have to spend a little bit of time here or there, whatever. Uh, and something else I can strongly recommend to anybody is just go to as many of these things and just absorb. You know, it's and eventually you'll be just doing stuff that you never imagined you were doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. The building block show is great for that too with Anna and Fulgens, or
Mhm.
seeing people's posts and comments when Martin does something. I call him like the most creative tinkerer that I know, because Martin's always willing to get like deep into creativity mode with things. So I absolutely agree. Totally love that you guys are sharing this. We get some inspiration from each other too. I'm adding a firefly named Nova to my content, who's going to be my little mascot for things. So I'm thinking of, and somebody's drawn it for me. We're trying to get it digitized and all that. So I'm going to see how Nova can make little appearances in things too. So thank you, Stephen. That's really great.
My
Sunny,
pleasure.
coming over to you, is there anything that you would like to share with us today?
Let's see. I had to see which profile I was in. I had this.
Yep, we hear the music. Yep. You're still muted in this scene though.
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be muted. I forgot. I should have turned my camera on. But that's something that I worked on when I first got Ecamm in, I think, 2021, and I never used it again until recently. But you inspired me to, let me just see if I can find it, the next one. I got the canvas, so I was
Yes.
able to ask my kids when we do would you rather, or which one do you prefer, and that was fun. And I learned from Adrian last week how to bring them in from one way or the other way, or up or down. So I'm still a novice at all of this. And I also had gotten, those are my kids in my public speaking Speak and Shine Youth Club there that answer those questions. And
So cute.
then I had, thank you, yeah.
Oh.
That's a young tech
I
heart
have that
thing.
one too. I know that one.
Yeah. The other thing that I did, and I have to figure out how to do it. Let me just bring my overlays on. Overlays. Okay. Sometimes you don't know. You know, I got something called Moom. I probably need to set my windows in Ecamm so that they will come where I need them to come. And I'll
Yes,
have to work
Moom is
on
great
that.
for that. Do any
Yeah.
any of the rest of you use Moom? Does anybody else use Moom? I got it recently myself.
I just got it, but I haven't started using it yet.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah,
well,
it's
well.
yeah,
Turn them on.
it should be a really helpful tool to help us organize windows exactly the way we want them when we want them at the drop of a button. But yes, so you got the animated
Yeah, so I got
emojis.
that, and I got these from one of live streaming pros probably 2 years ago, and I love those. My little mind blown things like that. It's just that occasionally I'll do something that the students they really love, and I don't think I have any more to show you, but I have lined up overlays, and I'm just working on doing quizzes. And I have to try to make sure everything works before I work on that with my students. But I'm looking for,
Mhm.
that's what I have going on right now. And I'm in
Excellent.
Live Academy. Well, it just ended last week, but I'm going back over those modules. And I just joined what's Adrian's last name? Salisbury's
Salisbury.
impact, because I've got to change my whole setup, and I'm finally going to get that Sony EV10. Is it Sony EV10?
The ZVE
Okay.
10.
Okay. Oh, ZE. Okay. Well, whichever one that is, I'm thinking about getting it. But I was wondering, has anyone gotten the plus, or most of the people who have they just keep the 10? Because Adrian seems to have recommended the 10, but not the plus.
Do
So,
you mean the Mark II?
It's called Sony. You know what? I didn't write it down, but I think it's Sony EV10. EV.
No, so
Yeah, Mark
the
II.
ZVE10
Uh-huh.
is the camera. That's the Sony
Right.
ZVE10, and they just came out with a new
Mark
version of
II.
that,
Plus,
but
I think.
it's called the Mark II.
Oh, I didn't know
Um,
that. I thought it actually just called the Plus. Oh, okay.
no, it's let me see here. I'm pulling it up for
I
you.
have the Sony ZVE10, but I've had it for a while. So it was
Mm-hmm.
before the Mark II. I'm not sure what the
I
changes
do
might have
too,
been.
and I love it. If you want, I think Tom Buck has a video that compares the two to help you
Okay.
decide if it's worth, because it's significantly different, significantly
Really?
more money. And so depending on your use case, it may not be worth it to spend the extra money.
Right, because I just have this small space. I mean, I can move forward. I just had my husband measure things because I have to send a before picture. And then after Adrian tells me how to hook up my stuff that I've had for a couple of years, like my prompter, and I got a MV, I don't even think it's on, but it's a Shure MV7 Plus, I believe.
Plus, I mean,
And
for what you'd spend on the Mark II, you might be better off getting the EV10 and then getting a lens. The
yeah, and
lens
this the
for the same money, you could get both versus. Yeah, but Tom
Mhm.
Buck has a good video on that, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
all right, I'll be looking at that, but I'm hoping that everything works out and that this investment, because that's the problem. I bought stuff and then I didn't. I hooked up my prompter, but then it didn't work correctly, so it's in my closet. But now I'm like kind of taking things out. I've got my Stream Deck. I got the foot pedal that I've been playing with, and I had it for months, and I just started just the other day. But I'm more motivated. It's just that I really didn't have a lot of time. But I do want to leverage the power of Ecamm in my presentations, especially when I'm talking to my Toastmasters and I'm giving presentations. It makes a difference, and I just want to be more confident. I can't even hook up a second monitor correctly. It just doesn't quite work for me, but I'm going to get there. And I know stuff, but sometimes you just need help. Okay,
Absolutely.
thanks.
Thank you, Sunny. Nice job with the new activity of this or that you can, and then, more will come, right? That's just the start of it. So good work.
Yeah,
Glad you enjoyed.
I loved your spotlight. You've got such great taste in using those CNVS stick things.
Those graphics. Yes, yes. That's my friend Lucy Agalini has a pack of graphics. She offers a free pack, and then she has a paid pack. I think it's something like 200, just a little over $200 for over 9,000 different graphics. So I love them. I use them a lot, and I believe the website is getcnvs.design. I know we've shared it in the group here before if anybody's interested.
It's on our Ecamm for Educators website too.
Great. Thanks, Sunny. And Dick, you have something to show us today? Oh, you're muted. Did you disconnect? No, you couldn't have disconnected audio because then you wouldn't be able to hear us. Maybe just a different mic.
I'll just quickly interject. I'm going to have to shoot because it's 10:15 at night now, and got things to go do before I
you
get
go,
to bed.
Martin, can we do a quick screenshot before you take off? Ready, guys? I want to just count down. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, Martin. It was really good to see you.
And I hope to join again. It's lovely to see just what everybody's doing. So
Look
thanks very
forward
much.
to
See you
catching
again
your
next time.
CCTV show tomorrow, too.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. See you guys.
Ciao.
Bye for now.
Hi, Martin.
All right, Dick, are you there? Is your mic back?
I can hear nobody. You can hear me?
I hear you, but very faintly.
While he's working on that, I'm going to pop a resource in the chat for you all. If you haven't played with this yet, it is
Oh my gosh,
absolutely worth it. I'll give you a 2-second thing here while we're waiting for him. So basically, this is a tool from Google. It's part of their labs. It's called Notebook LM, and what you do is you upload sources. So I'm teaching a class now to it's a like a sort of like a master's degree class on technological innovations in digital spirituality. And so for one of my classes, we're talking about prayer. And so I uploaded these 4 sources here. 2 of them are just pasted texts, and 2 of them are articles that I grabbed. I then created a timeline based on this information, on FAQ, a study guide. This has all been around for a little while. The new thing that's really everyone's talking about, and it really is pretty amazing, is this audio, what they call audio overview, which is really a podcast. It takes whatever you upload and it turns it into a podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome. We're diving into something today. Well, it's been on a lot of our minds lately, how technology is changing how we experience religious services.
And what better way to kick things off than with...
And just to be clear, those are not real people.
Right. They're AI voices.
There's nothing about that that's real. If I pull you in a little farther to it,
By Paskin points out, it can lead to a pretty...
This is one of the sources
concept.
is something that
He
I wrote.
outlines 3 different approaches congregations can take: physical first, digital first, and hybrid.
So physical first seems like the most straightforward, live streaming what's happening in person, which a lot of synagogues, I imagine, adopted out of necessity during the pandemic.
Right, the classic adapt or die scenario.
Yeah.
But as Rabbi Paskin points out, it can lead to a pretty passive experience for
So
those
that's-
joining online.
When I heard my name, when it was citing me, like, here's what's crazy about this is that I actually listened to the entire thing and I learned stuff.
It's amazing.
These are my sources. Like it's really pretty, it's a tremendous amount of fun. And I don't think if I ever have a long paper again, I honestly don't think I'll ever just sit down and read. I will read it, but I think I'll also throw it into here and let this have at it. It's just a really wonderful resource. And if you have a Google account, you can access it for free. notebooklm.google.com.
Thank you so much for sharing that. My university that has a teaching institute that's brand new, and this is the topic for this month. We're going to be talking about Google LM and comparing it to ChatGPT and the different, or other similar LLM. So this is a hot topic in education right now. So thank you for mentioning that. And see, Dick, are you back? I feel like we could also talk about AI tools in education for another month, but I know that's not exactly Ecamm, but there's just a lot we can talk about.
Dick, are you there? Do you have audio? Why is my hand raised? I didn't mean to raise my...
I saw that. TTG Productions has got
That's
a question.
really weird. How did that get raised? I have no idea how I did that. Looks like Dick's having some. Dick, right now you're Zoom muted. Let me try and force unmute you. Well, I can't really force unmute you, but I can ask you to unmute. You should have gotten a pop-up there that says, hello. Oh, now you're unmuted.
Okay.
Go ahead and say something. Let's see if we can hear you. So I don't actually think he's connected because I don't think he can hear us. Can you hear us? No, he cannot hear us.
Oh, you might not have connected to audio.
Can you
I wish you
hear
could
me?
read my lips. Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Not hear you, so
You can't hear us. We can hear you. We hear you. Thumbs up. That stinks, Dick. Sorry. I'll share one thing really quickly too, because I know we're a little over time today on the subject of keeping it simple and being inspired by certain things. I put this in Discord. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read it or not, but I just wanted to show you. I want to teach my oops. Dick, you can probably hear us now, right?
I can hear you, but I
Hear it twice.
Other speaks.
Yeah, we're getting some slap back. We definitely have some audio issues, so I'm going to go ahead and mute you if that's a. Oh, you did mute. Okay.
Yes. And so I wanted to, I'm going to teach my class about spotlight effect. And I thought you can see how simple this scene is. My camera's in a circle. The lamp is one graphic from the Canvas graphics that I was telling you about. Not Canvas like Canva, but rather my friend Lucy. And then I did get a light trail here from Canva. And then just the simple text up on the top. And a black background. And, you know, you can kind of be a little dramatic with it too about what the spotlight effect is. But I just thought sometimes it's nice to teach concepts like this that have a higher chance of sticking in a person's mind. Like, what is the spotlight effect, rather than only talking about it to highlight certain things. So it's a little something I wanted to share with you guys that I thought, you know, we can use this in fun, creative ways. So I think there's been a lot of inspiration today with lots. I hope you guys got lots of ideas. I feel like I definitely got lots of good ideas for my classes too. So we said, remind me guys, what did we say we talk about next month? I know we talked about it, quite a few things, but we said next month.
Profiles and
organization.
Organization, yeah.
That's right. Okay, terrific. So profiles and organization in general for Ecamm,
And video pencil.
Oh, you want to talk about video pencil? I love video pencil.
I'll practice it.
Actually,
I'll practice it.
Don't update to your iPad to 18.0.1, which is the latest update, because there's a bug, which he is working on squashing. He and I found it yesterday.
I'm glad you told me, because I did not update on my iPad.
18.0 is fine. 18.0.1 breaks. It still works, but you can't make selections and things like that. So.
Right. Okay, cool. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful month. And we'll see you same time next month, the second Tuesday of the month.
The third Tuesday is the 19th.
I'm sorry. This week it felt like the second because it's only the 15th, but you're right. It's the third Tuesday of the month at this same time. So
and everyone vote for Tatiana.
Yes.
Congrats.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Vote for whoever you think is the most appealing choice. God. But seriously,
that would be Tatiana.
Hey, Tatiana,
well,
before you go,
take a look. Maybe you guys are biased because you're educators too, and I am talking about education. But
I was going to say, take a look at. I made you a little GIF there in the corner of my screen, and before you go. It's your little firefly.
Thank you, Stephen. How sweet is that? I've never been gifted a digital item on screen before. This is fantastic.
Yeah, we made a little composite. There you go. It's my little gift. And Rabbi David Shana Tova, thank you very much. Great session. Everybody, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Same here. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a beautiful month. We're here on Discord. If you want to talk about anything in between the months too, let's feel free to reach out, guys. Have a beautiful, beautiful month, and we'll see you in November.
Bye now. See ya.